everyone, and today we're going to talk a little bit about free-for-all, and then shift our focus to a certain character. So free-for-all has been in the game proper for a little bit now. People are getting used to it, people are enjoying it, dipping their toes in that piranha-infested water where around every corner is going to be an awkward and dangerous encounter. Also known as the real-life mode, now that I come to think of it. And of course, as with everything new and fun, there's a subset of the Overwatch community that's there complaining about it. And admittedly, it's kind of valid. So we're going to talk about it. And the crux of the issue comes down to maps. So let me first ask you this question. When you think of a game mode, is it the heroes that you play in it, the objective that you have to do, or the terrain on which it takes place that most contributes to the experience? Obviously, when we're looking at a free-for-all deathmatch, you kind of lose one of those factors, because the objective that you have to do is very much more intrinsically tied to who you're playing, because it's just killing one another, you know? It's not a part of the map, it's not a team goal, there's not this factor that you have to be strategically aware of beyond, I need to win fights with whoever I come across. So, you can kind of boil it down to the hero choice and the map choice. And Deathmatch needs to have a more delicately designed map, in my opinion, because you have to have areas that favor different heroes. Normally in other games where everyone can choose every loadout, everyone's just a soldier killing each other, it doesn't matter what you do because everyone is equally favored everywhere. Whereas Overwatch is in the unique position where one area of a map is amazing for someone like Pharah, like the outside of Chateau Gilead, and the inside underneath are amazing for people like Reaper or DOOMFIST or Junkrat because it's really close spaces and they really do thrive there. And that's the thing about Chateau Gilead, extending upon that, it really is well designed in that manner. The intricacy, the corridors, the unders, the overs, how everything is formed together like almost a cube filled with holes is really good for actually enhancing a free-for-all deathmatch game mode, because really every single hero has somewhere on that map that you can make quite profitable, and that's a lot of fun for people. You start to learn, alright, they have X hero, so I don't really want to go here because I'll be at the mercy of them when I'm playing this hero, and that's almost part of the, you know, air quotes, meta of free-for-all deathmatch, and it's a very delicate balance that only is achieved when you design a map with that in mind. And yeah, obviously the other game modes are still very much enhanced by a well-designed map based on that being the game mode that's played there, making a control point that's both fun to attack and defend while providing options for a variety of heroes. That's very delicate, and for the most part they've done a fantastic job. The big difference comes down to the fact that in one you have teammates and in the other you don't. In free-for-all, when it's me, myself and I against the world, you have to be able to cover every situation yourself, and if you're on a map where you feel like who you want to play right now is just hugely disadvantaged, well, that kind of sucks. Not to mention going against the fact that Overwatch likes to encourage hero variety wherever it can. How well it's achieving that is, well, another question, but it still is one of their goals. But the idea that because of a map you can't play a hero that you want when you're not having to pick for a team, for a setup, for an objective-based mode is really quite bad, as well as the fact that it's just restricting variety within the game. You don't want to be facing 8 McCrees running around. You don't want to be fighting as 8 Pharahs in a big open aerial map. That's just a lot less fun. So why is this happening? Well, in an uncharacteristically lazy move on Blizzard's part, they've just went, well, for the sake of map variety that no one really asked for, we're gonna take the 2 CP maps, cordon off a section, and just stick deathmatch in there. Yeah, that seems great. And obviously now we have a load of maps being played as deathmatch that weren't designed for deathmatch, and it's painfully obvious that they're not. Take Anubis, which is just awful to play as deathmatch, because like initially I didn't even think this was a big problem. I thought people were overreacting, but having played it myself, it just doesn't feel anywhere near the same. There is a serious beauty in a well-designed map for a mode like this. Think of the Quakes, think of the Unreal Tournament, those kind of shooters. The map is everything, isn't it? It really, I know I'm repeating myself a little bit, but it really does enhance it. Whereas Temple of fucking Anubis does nothing to enhance Deathmatch apart from, I guess, enhancing your tilt level. I reached full-on 90 degrees perpendicular by the time I would finish because it's just not fun. The layout does not support it. The rooms that you have available are just pointless because people don't go in there. It's too spread out. The map is not designed in a way so that you will travel around it in circles naturally like the Chateau, because the Chateau is set up in a way that people move around the map while fighting without even really realizing it, because everything's intertwined. It's basically a cube shape with lots of tunnels going everywhere, and it has this flow to it. Whereas half a control point map, what are you supposed to do on a control point? Go from the attacking area to the defending area. That's the flow design. That's where you're naturally led. So when you're trying to play deathmatch in there and you're supposed to be going everywhere, it just doesn't feel natural or intuitive, and it's really off. And obviously on, again, Anubis, there's lots of open space in the playable area, which means you just get people sat on Farah being absolute fucking assholes, shooting you. And I know, admittedly, the answer is also go Farah or go Widow, but then we're back to the point where I'm playing a game mode where I only have to rely on me. Why am I having to pick a fucking hero counter because of the map? Ugh! And again, you could totally say, even irrelevant of that, you should totally be prepared to pick a hero counter because of the map if you want to win. And yeah, that's fair enough. If I wanted to win, yeah, okay, I can get behind that. I can. But what about if I want to have fun? Which I think is really the main issue, since we're playing a game for, you know, fun. So that's really what people are upset about, having really subpar quality deathmatches, because the difference in quality between a deathmatch on Chateau and a deathmatch on the other maps is just so huge. Admittedly, Lunar Colony is okay because, again, it's indoors, there's lots of different areas that favour different people. It does suffer the control point, you know, problem of it likes to push everyone in one direction towards the back control point is the natural map design, which, by the way, is very clever of Blizzard. They have made the maps that do naturally progress people to where they need to go, which is very cool, but again, that's not what you want on Deathmatch. So, I don't know. That's what's occurring, and it kind of sucks. I really don't think there's anything wrong with just having the Chateau as the only Deathmatch map. It's designed for it. It's new. People aren't sick of it yet. Just leave it there and then add a new one in like a month or 2 months, and that's fine to keep it fresh. The map learning and getting to grips with who's good where and who to avoid where is such a huge part of Deathmatch that there was going to be ages of learning time before anyone was sick of the Chateau, especially if it ends up being ranked, which I really hope it does, but that's another story for another time. The only real advantage to the CP deathmatches is that the spawn points feel less brutal, because a lot of the time you do spawn and there's just no one. The amount of wonder time before you find someone, because of how stretched out the maps feel, is really quite high, and you want constant intense action on a deathmatch. That's kind of the point. And the spawn points are another issue altogether. Like, you really need to either spawn people where people aren't on a map like Chateau, where you're very gonna quickly find someone anyway, so it's not a big deal, or at least give a couple seconds of you can't move, you can't fire, you can't do anything, but you can at least get your bearings. Because by far the biggest source of I get from people while playing deathmatch with them is I spawned and instantly got shot in the back, what the fuck, before you've even really registered where you are, and that's not a good let me know how you guys are finding this. Everyone that's jumping into deathmatch right now, do you think this problem is non-existent for you, or are you finding the Chateau ones much more fun than the non-Chateau ones, or do you feel like I've wasted a good part of my life making this, which is always my fear? But yeah, I'm very interested in your deathmatch and free-for-all experiences. The other thing that I want to talk about is DOOMFIST's hilarious uselessness at the moment, because obviously when he got added he was initially very powerful, but he got nerfed really badly, chiefly of which is the hitbox on the right-click charge punch. It went from basically 3 times the size of his gauntlet to we gotta find it. We just gotta, okay, yeah, let's zoom and enhance, zoom Zooming in. Yep. Yep.
You must be joking.
There we go. There we go. That's the one. That's if you get hit by that, then you're affected. That's yeah, so obviously that makes it a little bit difficult to be effective on him, as I found out a lot trying to play him in free-for-all for footage for this video. So it's not bad, he's just really disappointing now. He has a bottom 4 pick rate, bottom 3 win rate, bottom 6 eliminations per game, bottom 6 damage, bottom 3 KD, behind many supports. Some lovely statistics were posted on how he's doing in competitive, and it's a really grim sight to behold. Now, a lot of this is skewed by DOOMFIST being a close range one and done, i.e. he's not really an assist machine. He either fully kills you or he doesn't really touch you. There's very little general damage that he puts out. Like Hanzo and Widowmaker, most of their kills are you just get one shot by them. So DOOMFIST has a tricky time actually getting on statistics because of that, because he has to get in close and he either dies horribly or he gets a solo kill to himself. He can't really farm eliminations. So really the big one is his win rate, which still is trash for such a hyped and promising hero when he first got involved. Like, the fact is right now, because his hitbox is so small, there's actually bugs happening. It's phasing through people, and it is just really being weird, especially with the second part of it. People are hitting walls and not actually taking any damage, and I don't think Blizzard really planned for the hitbox being the way that it is, and it's opened up a whole other can of worms, and I think that's really sad, because I don't necessarily think before DOOMFIST was like, oh my god, DOOMFIST is ruining the game and his rampant powerfulness. I feel like it's a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction, because DOOMFIST himself, I mean, yes, he could charge the enemy team, kill people, and then leave, and ha ha ha, and that was a little bit sucky, but at the same time, he just feels so awkward now. It's so sad to think that you've really well aimed and you just pass through, or you just miss by a slither, and yeah, you know, it's on you, you miss. But when the accuracy required on a hero that puts himself in so much danger is that high, coupled with a high skill cap, of course you're going to end up with a really, really poor performance. I think a huge thing that would go towards making DOOMFIST, and also Tracer for that matter, but Tracer doesn't need a buff in any way, but it's something that both of them should share, because it really does make sense. Why can they not punch/blink in the direction that your freaking aimer is pointing at? Why are they glued to the horizontal plane when obviously that's not how they actually would be, you know, in the world of Overwatch? It really gets to me. It really bugs me. If you could just punch where you're looking, at angles, up places, because a fucking payload hard counters DOOMFIST. It really does, and that is so sad. If he could just punch where he's aiming instead of along a horizontal plane, because there is no vertical or lower hitbox to his punch, so the amount of times you pass over people's heads because they were like half a foot lower than you, or they were up some steps, is just sad. And it would make the hero a lot more fun as well. I mean, he still is fun, but it is a little bit depressing to see him doing so poorly when it would just take a slight little tweak to bring him both still in line, but make playing him not an effort in futility like it currently feels with the right click. I mean, it is a delicate hero to balance. He is potentially always on the verge of being either too powerful or too weak. It's a hard middle ground to find in a hero that has one-shot potential and mobility. It's always tricky, but I think leaving the hitbox how it is now, but letting him punch at angles would really be the perfect solution. And again, I'd like to throw the question to you guys. How are you finding your DOOMFIST at the moment? Are you finding them annoying to play against? Those of you that are playing as him, what results are you getting compared to when he was on the PTR, for example, if you played him there? I really want to know what experiences people are happening, because for me, I'm still doing okay, but he is noticeably worse than when I played him on the PTR from both a fun and impact standpoint. So yeah, there you go, everybody. My name has been Rage. I hope you liked this little talk today. Like if you did, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Oh, goodbye.